had this conversation, I had it very lightly with Daniel Cormier earlier today. But Daniel's take on Aspinall versus Jones, Daniel's take for now is that conversation has stopped. I think those were Daniel's words, but make sure you understand, Daniel was not reporting that. He was telling you from his sense. Like, I haven't seen any headlines. I'm not hearing people talking about it. Now, I have a different take. I got my ear to the grindstone. It's very hard to have a secret around here that I don't hear about. Just the truth. And that's when I don't go looking for it. I would just get to me. This one I've actually gone and looked for. And my sources are telling me Jon Jones has not turned that fight down. Jon Jones has not been offered that fight. I mean, I'm talking about the official call where we say, hey, July 7th, Vegas, you and Aspinall, world title, weight class 265. Yes or no? To my understanding, that call has not been placed yet. Very important detail. Like, if I have that information wrong, it kind of screws my entire opinion, but we haven't been told that by anybody. We have not been told by the company. We haven't been told that by Jon. We haven't even been told that by Aspinall. I mean, if you'll remember, as recently as 3 days ago, Justin Gaethje put out a whole hit list of guys that turned down the fight with him. Justin knew who had been called, who had been offered. I mean, he's naming names. He's naming Max, and he's naming Moicano. He falsely named Poirier, but I mean, he's naming these names. It would seem to me that Tom Aspinall would come out and say, hey, we can't get Jon to sign the contract. It would seem to me that Aspinall would begin to make his moves. If I got a contract, I'm owed a fight. I want that fight. I want it against Jon, but if you can't get Jon, get me somebody. That's your job. As a way of stirring the pot. I understand where you would wait for the Jones fight, but it would seem that would happen. I mean, all of the antics on the playground, all of them, from so-and-so scared of so-and-so, meet me here and we're going to do that. All the things that work on the playground carry over to the pros. There's no difference in how you build a fight. First grade, fifth grade, 11th grade, 10 years in the octagon, it doesn't change. And I'm just here to tell you, none of that is being said by anybody. And Jon was more than happy to negotiate publicly. He was more than happy to go to the media and start talking about numbers and prices and what it's going to take. He hasn't done any of those things. He did that in a post-fight press conference, Madison Square Garden. He performed in front of the president and Elon Musk. I mean, not for nothing, Jon had the right to be high. He had the right to have an adrenaline. He had the right to start making some claims, see what sticks against the wall. Like, that's just the way the game is played. He hasn't done that. He hasn't gone to the media. We've seen so many other guys do that. Even guys that misplay their hand. They misplay their hand the exact same way. Jon hasn't done that. I do feel strongly that my information is correct. That Jon has not been offered that fight. Not in the official sense of, hey, here's when we're going to do it. And I bring that to you because if that's incorrect, the time and the play to move right around that is to book Tom Aspinall. You just find him someone else. Whatever you have to do to find that person, you got to hold a fight. You got to have a press conference. You got to get some Twitters going back. I mean, whatever it is, we are not even starting to find a replacement person that could fog a mirror. I mean, Aspinall versus Surreal is a pretty good poster. Not the greatest thing. It's not what you would. It's a pretty good poster. I mean, I'm not convinced if Jon Jones didn't come back and you couldn't get something done, I'm not convinced that Aspinall versus Stipe as a fight doesn't work. But we're not hearing any rumblings. And then you've got the very obvious one, which is going to be a confrontation. It is going to be a piece on the checkboard, which is quite simply Alex Pereira. But Alex Pereira is currently an underdog against Ankalaev. Now, I will fully admit for you, the best way to get Pereira to heavyweight is not to have him beat Ankalaev and do what you call cleaning out a division. There's really no such thing. As long as there's a dude standing, you haven't cleaned out a division. The best way to get him to heavyweight is to get him beat. But if he was to get beat and then try to build a fight against Tom, which, by the way, if they ever did, would be for the undisputed belt, not the interim belt, I think it's a harder story to tell. But it's still a story you would begin to tell. If one guy starts negotiating publicly, you meet him in kind. And that isn't happening yet. And Alex Pereira could do a lot. He could do a lot with one victory and one microphone. We've seen Pereira do it before. He landed one strike on Sean Strickland, got his hand raised one time, cut one promo, and left the building that night with a verbal contract to fight Israel Adesanya for the World Championship. Like, Pereira does have this skill, and it just seems like the card under his sleeve, the card that he may not play, isn't at 205. It's at heavyweight, but it's a very different look. And how much do you want to hold the fight? How much do you want to hold me to the words that I'm saying right now? Or how much do you want to feint the idea that you'll hold the fight to get the one that you really want? Like, there's some moving parts, and it gets very tactical. And these guys, all of them, are playing chess right now. But I'm just sharing with you, I don't think anyone's made their move. I don't believe that it's true that Jon has turned the fight down. I don't believe it's true that Jon would turn the fight down. I don't think Jon's been offered the fight. And if that information is accurate, I would be very curious as to why.